I'm on my way to interview an owner of an interesting car. I'm just on my way to the Newcastle All British Day, where I'll be interviewing Mike about his old Morris racing car. Now Newcastle's about an hour up the road, so I'll see you there. I'm here talking to Mike about his Morris race car. So, how long have you owned this car?
I've been involved with it actually since about 1963.
Right.
The car. When I helped a guy called John Morgan in Condobolin actually build the car, and John went on to race it on dirt tracks, stuff like that in the Riverina area, which was West Wyalong, Temora, Griffith, place like that, and was very successful campaigning the car at 63, 64 Riverina champion, and then went on to build a Ford Anglia. Anyway, with that, John's dad took on racing the car, and so I was involved. Then eventually he quit racing it, and it just got left in a paddock. And I had a workshop in Condobolin for 25 years, and I used to always say to John, we should restore the Morris back to its former glory. Anyway, when I retired from my workshop, John came and saw it and said, if you would like to have the car, you can have it, and there's a spare body shell, so that's what we did. Probably 5-6 years ago, I've been wrong with that actually, we moved from Condobolin to Karua, and there was a local track down the road, a Terry Road, that ran by the Newcastle MG Club. Yep. I thought, well, I can rebuild this car, I'm going to take it there and hill climb it. So that's what we ended up doing. We've built a new body shell on it, but it's used all the original running gear from back in the 60s with it. The original motor that was in it, just refreshed it, stuff like that. And back then we were only allowed to run standard valve sizes, which was the class, and a single issue carburetor.
So while we're talking about the specifications, what's the engine in it?
It is just a 950 Morris minor motor.
Right. Is that it's like a mini motor?
Yeah, mini motor, similar mini motor.
A-series.
The running series of an A-series motor.
Right, yeah.
950, it runs Repco pistons of 10-to-1, which is very hard to obtain these days.
Yep.
It's never ever blown an engine or a crankshaft. Still runs standard conrods in it, but it has been balanced. Yeah, virtually blueprinted the motor actually. Cams were free back then, runs a cam, runs a graphic dizzy in that. We do regularly, and I do drive it at 8,000 revs, that's where we spin it to. Yep. Which does surprise a lot of guys that it hadn't thrown itself all over the street. But it seems to go.
What about the gearbox? Is that a...
Gearbox still uses a standard Morris gearbox.
Right, yep.
In it.
How are you going for parts for that sort of thing?
Still plenty of parts.
Right.
There's, Morris minor parts are still, in England turning up new, and even in Australia turns up new, without too many hassles as well. Right. I do have a couple of spare engines myself as well, and spare parts to keep the car running.
Okay, when you get back to the diff, is that a Morris?
Yeah, it's still running a Morris diff.
Is that a welded or?
Yeah, well, it is a welded diff. We did make our own limited slip diff in it. It was reasonably successful, but not good enough. We didn't put heavier springs, so just to get ourselves out of trouble, I just welded this one with the 4.22 diff in it. Right. I do have a spare 3.9 and things like that for it. But
the suspension on these things was what, lever arm?
Yeah, lever arm shocks, everything else. Still standard Morris minor suspension on it.
Right.
We do run sway bars on it, front and rear, and also crosslink arms. And it runs a big panhard rod on it, which is unconventional to these days. It runs what we call a centre. They're old 2-model Ford driving arms, and it mounts from the centre of the car back to the diffs, which normal is just little short ones in front of your axles and stuff like that. Seems to be successful, mate.
Okay, the sway bars, did you have to make them, or were they an aftermarket item?
No, they're just the sway bars we just found.
The old wrecking yard?
The old wrecking yards, things like that, yeah, just adapting to fit it.
Right.
The one in the front is fitted underneath, the one in the back actually comes up through the boot and goes back down again.
Right, right.
Well, lightweight of the car a lot compared to what it used to when it used to run. We think it goes in around the 600 kilos or something like that. Might even be a little bit less actually.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just pretty competitive. We're not, we're not over competitive because we're running what they call the the Type 4 under 2 litre class. So we're giving away 1 litre to most cars as it is.
Yeah.
But we don't fall off the end of the leaderboard. We're always still up there.
Yeah. So what sort of motorsport are you using it for? I've seen it at Ringwood Hill Climb.
Yeah, mainly Ringwood, and also there's a 3-round series run by the 3 car clubs, the Newcastle MG Club and Kempsey and Tamworth, and they do a 3-round series which we're going to compete at that.
Yep.
We've already been to Kempsey this year. We've come back to, I think the 26th or 27th, I think back to Ringwood. Then we go to Tamworth for the series.
Now, Kempsey Hill Climb's an interesting venue.
It is very interesting,
old highway, you wouldn't believe it.
Bit of the old highway,
Yeah,
it is. It's a bit of a challenge, especially it's a more of a uphill power job. We do suffer a little bit, but my main competitor at the moment, he had 6 seconds on me up there, which doesn't seem a lot, but it is a lot.
It is a lot,
with it. But he also is running a 4AG motor,
okay.
which is,
Yeah.
a fair way in front of me, but still, it's good. He's a good competitor. We have a lot of fun together and stuff like that. So,
So at some point in your early days, or at some point, you must have sort of said to yourself, I like the look of that motorsport. What sparked that? Was it
probably
Jack Brabham, or what was it?
No, probably just in being involved with John Morgan all those years.
Yep.
John was and his old man, old Jack Morgan, was a very clever man. No schooling background as that, but one of them old style engineers who could look at something and go, we can do it this way.
Right.
And I started my apprenticeship in '63 as a motor mechanic and stuff like that, and pretty well involved in motorsport ever since then. I've raced motorbikes and stuff like that. In the Condo 750 early in the piece. I've also worked for Automation Motorsport, who used to run the Australian Safari. I'm the head mechanic for them.
Right, yeah.
I also did a lot of rally work with a guy called Graham Alexander out of Melbourne, in which with Graham I was lucky enough to do a couple of round Australia trials with him. We also went to Africa in 2009 to East African Safari, the team manager for that.
Right.
Just a great time to
It is. It won't happen again.
Won't happen again, that's right. You're getting too old for that.
Okay, some people, motorsport cars particularly, because you have such a history with them, is it something you'll have that'll be at your funeral, or is it something that if someone come along with a handful of money, you'd part with
it? It'll stay in the family. It won't go anywhere. It'll just stay with us. So we've got a few things like that, a little bit of history, and we'll keep it. Even though there's guys here that like it and stuff like that, a bit like the truck. There's fellas here that love to buy the truck. But, it's a family heirloom. And we'll stay with it too. And it's a good combination. We transport it. We only go to Italia Road with it on the back because they're not very fast in their day.
No, they wouldn't be.
With it, and we've been to quite a few shows. And
All right, well, thanks very much for that little chat about the old Murray.
No problem at all, mate.
Thanks for that.
Thanks.
I'm Quack McMullard. Bye for now.
Terrific.